So here we are again. After some technical difficulties, I'm going to pick up where I left off, having said that really most of my challenges in my life were self-imposed, but actually in the break just now I realized maybe the single most, the biggest challenge in my life was when my teacher passed away in 2013, my Tibetan teacher, Akung Rinpoche. And suddenly one day I received an email and he had been murdered. He had been murdered in Chengdu on his way to Tibet. And I mean, we always knew it was dangerous, that he was traveling there with a lot of money. But it was just, I can't think, in a way, he was really the person that had helped me more in my life than anybody else. And I met him when I was 21 and really without a purpose, really totally lost. And I was alone in the world because I didn't respect anybody. My parents had got divorced. Here I am saying I had no challenges. My parents got divorced after looking after me very well, and after they knew I had left home and I was grown up. But still, there was no home left I could go back to. I didn't want to study. I had said goodbye to the German education system, the path that was laid out for me. My boyfriend had just decided not to join me in North Germany, and really I had nothing. And then I met Akung Rinpoche, very, very simple, kind, down-to-earth person who basically just gave me a home, gave me a place to stay, gave me a meaningful work in Scotland. So I was working there, living in the community, and then learning. Also, he gave me the Dharma, which is the most precious gift. And the teachings, the meditation instructions, basically the path to liberation. And he did that with incredible patience and kindness and equanimity. And he didn't do that just to me. He did that for thousands of people all over the world. And suddenly he was dead. Suddenly he was gone. And the amazing thing was that when I read the email and then I thought of him, and I only felt calm and peace and light and bliss almost, which was like he was okay. You know, he had just been murdered, but he was all right. And also we found after that he had left everything so that we could manage, that all his activities, all his projects could carry on because he had trained us so well. He had helped us so well. He had always educated us to become more mature, to become mature human beings. And first of all, learn to look after ourselves. And then once we managed to do that, start reaching out to all around us and help others. So basically, this has really been and maybe still is the biggest challenge, but also the one big event in my life where I could say that really helps when something so bad happens and you pull through, it makes you stronger, you know, and it makes you more compassionate towards others who are having hard times, lose somebody they love or something. Yeah, so this is maybe as much as I want to say right now.
Yeah, thank you. My biggest challenge was obviously really the loss of Mark last year. And I talked about it with Jane on Monday. And it was good because she lost her husband 6 years ago and also to cancer. And both of them, her husband and my husband, were still, functioning. They were still, if they didn't have the cancer, they would have been totally healthy, you know. So, and they were awake until the last moment. And so it was really good to talk with her and to talk about this experience. And it is posted on the website underneath these two hangouts, which are now going on at the moment. Yeah, so if you are interested in listening to that, you can do it separately. I don't want to repeat everything here. I would like really to go over to Barbara and ask how did you cultivate this, let's say, the smile, for no better word to say. How did you cultivate this positive attitude towards life? And I know something has also to do with your dogs, because you always talk about your dogs as if they are a real part of the family, and I'm quite sure they are. So I would really invite you to tell me a little bit where you take the strength from and the positive, and don't get sucked into the negative. Also, the negative can be there sometime, no, periodically, but I always see you so resilient, so wow. So wow. I will unmute you so you can speak. Now you are muted.
You know, I guess I have always been positive all my life. I mean, there's been moments. I've lost 2 grandbabies. Each of my children lost a baby. I've lost my son. A lot of loss. And, but I knew life was going to go on. And I don't know. And then I worked as a church secretary for 30 years from from age 50 to 81. And I enjoyed the people that would come in and bend my ear, I guess you'd say. They'd come in because they knew I'd listen. That was my favorite part of my job, is different friends from church. They would come in and sit and talk and tell me their problems, and I would commiserate with them, or maybe make some suggestions. Oh, when I had that happen, and tell them what I did. And I had one lady say, "Oh, well, you're not a counselor. You shouldn't be counseling people." I said, "I'm not. I'm consoling them." There's a difference. And I enjoyed that. When we moved to Northern California from Southern California, my daughter had a school friend. I was friends with her mother. Didn't always see eye to eye on everything. I mean, people don't always, but we were friends. And when I went to leave, she says, "You're my psychiatrist. You can't move away." Because with her too, I would listen. And strangely enough, over the years, a lot of the friends I've made have mental health issues. A number of people have bipolar disease, different things like that. Our son had bipolar disease. And my mom had dementia. And for years, like 19, 20 years, she was not well. And my husband had Parkinson's and ended up the last, at least 2 years of his life, he had that really scary to him, dementia that goes with Parkinson's sometimes. He would doze off in his chair. He'd wake up, and if I was out of the room, he'd panic, totally panic. I'd come back in the room and he'd be just frantic. And I'd say, "What's the matter?" And "I thought I was all alone. And the one time he says, "I thought I was on a deserted island and I was all alone and I didn't know what to do." And he thought there was a staircase in our home that wasn't. We lived in a mobile home. It had one floor. And I said, "Honey, the only steps are outside to come in or out." No. He says, I can see the staircase. And so we had to take him, my daughter and I had to take him in, let him go into where he thought he saw the staircase, and he was puzzled because he was positive he could see a staircase from the other room. So I guess being around all of this, and I grew up in a kind of a laid back, happy, easygoing home, and that's kind of how I am. Um, I don't like if things get too frantic. I like it to be kind of easygoing and semi-quiet. I enjoy TV and things like that. And my little dog sits on the couch with me sometimes, and I like, like Law and Order and some of the, in quotes, cop shows. And she'll sit and watch with me, which I think is so funny. Because I'll look over and she's just intently watching the screen. But it's, I guess I've just always been a positive person. And then things in my life, I have just kind of, to get through them, it took positivity. And then I found I could be helpful to other people by being positive. And that's why I'm surviving now. There are days that it's a little tougher, we've had tons and tons of rain. Uh, I don't know whether all of California, but I know Northern California, we're way over the 100% normal rainfall. And it's raining again today. Poor dogs, they don't like to go out in the rain, so we've got puppy pads down. And but I like the sunshine a little better. I don't necessarily like hot, but I like the sunshine, mild weather and sunshine. So I guess that's kind of explains my side of it.
Yeah, you can send some rain over to Italy. We have for 2 months we don't have rain, and I have to water the plants already, which normally begins in June, July. So yeah, something seems to change. What I'm interested still is, Barbara, we are doing this in the series Conscious Aging, and we are aging. And for me, the question is how to find real sense in life for the last few years, and to few or more, I don't know. We don't know. And you somehow said that you can help others by being positive. Is this your way of finding meaning in your life now for the rest of your life? Let's say I unmute you. Okay.
Yeah, I think, it's if I can help somebody else feel good, then I feel even better. So, it's and the scarf I'm wearing, some lovely lady sent to me. They had a posting in the help site for the fire victims. The one time, this one posting, it said, "What one thing would you enjoy having?" Well, I had a lot of pretty scarves and I had a lot of jewelry. It's simple, mostly dime store in quotes type jewelry. And all of it was lost in the fire. And so I said, well, I'd love to have a pretty silky scarf or a necklace. And because it dresses anything up. I've got a sweatshirt on right now. It dresses up the sweatshirt. And a lady sent me this, and it's very unique, I think. One side of it has this pattern, and the other side has a coordinating pattern. And they go together, and they don't show through. That's the unique part. It's thin. It's relatively thin, but the patterns don't show through to the other side. And it's the most gorgeous thing. I just had to wear it today. So, and I received necklaces, and I received uh, other scarves, and sweet notes, and everything. It's that site is the most. Even reading other people's stories, that site, um, Adopt a Family. Let's see, Campfire Adopt a Family, I believe it's called, and on Facebook. And I love going on that site because it does give me positive feelings. The feedback from there, I can't afford to help other people right now, but seeing other people getting helped, and some of them have moved elsewhere and started their life over now, and they're telling, all happy that their life is beginning over again and so forth. And it's to me, a very uplifting sight. Even the ones that are having a problem, everybody is so kind. Their comments, they've had a few that weren't so kind that made comments, but everybody jumps on them. And so that doesn't last. But a lot of lovely, lovely comments on there. And so that helps. Even though my life is kind of uncertain right now, I don't know yet just what we're going to do. We'd like to move back to Paradise, but I don't know if it's going to take too long for them to clean it up, if we can wait that long. We're kind of in limbo, and there's a certain element of feeling like we're imposing, staying here with my daughter's friend. And so, we sort of want to move on, and yet we don't really want to leave the area because we liked the area. The area was the people, the friendliness, the small town feel. That also was a positive effect on us. And so I guess that's all I can think of right now.
Thank you. So what do you, other people, find meaning in your life after the challenges or because of the challenges? What Barbara said, I found it very interesting in the sense that often when horrible things happen, then people come together to help. And that's nice. I really like it. That seems to be a human tendency, to want to help. And as long as we can conserve that, there is hope, in my opinion. So, Marianne, you have unmuted yourself.
Sure. I mean, there's definitely always hope. And I feel for me, one thing which is meaning, well, obviously I have family and I'm very involved with kids, and I have another grandchild on the way. So there's that whole aspect of, having this continuation and so forth. And I have also been very involved in community, but for me right now, it was time to pull back from being so much out there and creating more my own space where, I think I lived a lot of my life focused on helping others. And right now I feel it's my time to focus on what is going on, what is really bringing me joy in the end, like figuring out what are the things I've been doing because I felt obligated to do them, be it through my upbringing, be it through, just seeing the need in society and just feeling that, and what is really coming from my soul, what is it I want to do. So I feel really excited about it. And I just listened to a show and I was very much resonating with it. I feel as we get older, we get more into that attitude that the small stuff doesn't matter that much. And I kind of feel I had that attitude throughout my life, to not sweat the small stuff, so to speak. But I think it's even more pronounced right now. And yeah, so I'm more looking at, it's like what Hannah was saying, so physical possessions are not that important. I'm definitely in the place of letting go of a lot of things and trying to have less, and still trying to, whatever I get rid of, find a purpose with somebody else for it. I don't want things to just go into the trash, but to figure out, I don't really need that, who could use it, who could, like, I have a box of envelopes. I'm not writing letters. It's a big box. It came from my time where I was doing whatever, advertising flyers. And so now I need to find someone who still needs envelopes, right? So that kind of thing too. And I guess that's still, some people are all into, let's just go off everything and just get rid of it. So I'm still trying to be purposeful. And I think the other thing, and we talked about it in the, death and dying episode, I feel being okay with the ideas that we don't last forever and that we could be gone any minute is kind of an incentive to really enjoy every day, because we don't know if we have a tomorrow. So you might as well enjoy today, right? So I think that's kind of, my direction at this point.
Yeah, I find it interesting because I'm doing the same thing. And we together, Marianne and myself, we have begun to talk about our upbringing in Germany, and partly for, memories, freshening up memories, but also partly to let other people know how life was different and how it has changed. And also, you reminded me now, is also to figure out for ourselves how far we were conditioned and how far it's what we do is what because we want to do it. So I think in this age is a good age to get clear about life's purpose, let's say, and about ourselves. What are we? What is our soul's purpose? And what was convention or whatever. It's nothing bad about it, but I think it's time to sort that out a little bit. So,
well, I think any age is good, and it sounds like Hannah started when she was 14. So,
no, I wanted to say maybe for me it's good to do it now and not even later. Okay, so I invite people to listen to the show. We called it Growing Up in Post-War Germany. We have done 3 episodes so far. We have to plan some more. Yeah. So Hannah, up to you.
Yeah, life purpose. Well, it's interesting. I'm 58 now, and my sisters, they're just one sister has just retired last week, and the other one has retired at 65 2 years ago. So they're a bit older than me. So, and my mom really started living her own life and finding her own purpose when she turned 60, when she retired at age 60. And so that for me has always been like a shining example. And then I lived the last 11 years with her, of her life with her, when she died. When she died, she was almost 91. So she had 30 years, like 1/3 of her life was, I suppose the first third was the war, being, growing up and basically not really having, she had a childhood, but her adolescent years, being a young woman, was totally overshadowed by the war. And she was 19 when the war ended. So then the middle 30 years were basically being married to my father, it was a difficult relationship, and having children, which is the reason why she married, and doing her duty and to the best of her ability. And basically when she was 52, she decided to leave my father, because there was nothing with she was sharing with him anymore. But it was still struggle up until the age of 60 to build her own life at that age. And so I always knew that it is that 60 is a chance, at least in our day and age, to in a way have the leisure to really live your own thing. Like Marianne, you were saying, now I do things not out of obligation, but because I want to, and I find out more what do I really want to do. So I'm, and I'm very, very interested in what it means to be a mature being. Like I was saying, Akon Rinpoche always said, try and become mature. And now I'm already now since quite 20 years or so, I'm studying the integral theory, Ken Wilber and also other people who are looking into adult development. And now I know that becoming mature has two aspects. One is waking up, which is like meditation and really finding out about the nature of mind and reaching the absolute nature of your mind. And quite a different matter is growing up, which is widening your perspective and your ability to respond to life and to have more objects, being less thrown about, being less subject, but more even becoming aware of your own mind and being able to integrate that and understanding other people as they are and not as a screen for your projection. So this is really what I find very, very fascinating, and where I think I also maybe my life purpose, I don't know, but my strengths lie. That I'm also a good listener. I love Barbara. I love the way you're saying. I'm not a counselor. I'm just consoling people. I'm not counseling them. Basically, I also call what I do coaching, but basically it's just listening. Yeah, and it's maybe weird in our day and age that you have to pay somebody to listen to you for an hour. But so one of maybe, if anything, my life purpose at the moment is like learning to live in a more humane way again. In German, it's artgerecht. Artgerechtes Menschenleben. That's in a way something I'm burning for. Is really to find out. To learn again not to be born and die in hospital as though life was a disease, but to learn natural childbirth, natural family life. I mean, there's not really a whole family, at least in Germany. You don't have whole families anymore. It's all patchwork and single mothers, single fathers. And then the whole way of growing old and in institutions and dying in hospital and it's not and eating alone, people not cooking, people don't get together to cook and eat together anymore, so this is maybe really what I'm looking into. How can I contribute? How can I find other people who are really into this to somehow rebuild a humane way of life that really lives also in a big world community.
Wow, yeah. That's creating community, I so far do it online, not so much, at least in person here. But I am really intended either to go to a community if I succeed to sell my house, or create a community here. So we will see how that ends. So I think we are coming to the end round, and I'm wondering, what do you project for this year? How do you think your life might go? And if it goes like that or not, we don't know. But what is your desire to be fulfilled in this year, and which is coming. And I first unmute you, Barbara. Okay.
Yeah, I, of course, at the moment, don't really know what or when our life is going to be where we want it to be. We want to have a home again, most likely a mobile home or modular, something on that order. Low end. Our home that we lost, it was actually 50-year-old mobile, but it had been well cared for, and they had done upgrades and different things to it over the years, and so it was very nice. I'm hoping to have something on that order again, newer, because now the town, if we go back to Paradise, they're saying nothing over 10 years old. So that's going to make a different town than, they're hoping to have new life for the town and the appearance of the town and everything. And surprisingly, we went to a meeting for the people that had lived there. And surprisingly, there was like 500 or 600 people at the one meeting. And then they had another meeting later that evening. And I understand it wasn't quite as well attended, but still a number of people. And so there's a lot of us that are still in the area that do want to live back there again. It's just kind of all on hold at the moment for us, but we do want to have another home, and hopefully in the Paradise area, if not right in Paradise. We had lived in Magalia for 36 years, which was about 10 miles above Paradise, up the hill further. And then we'd lived about 8 years in Paradise. So half of my lifetime there. Other half in Southern California, but I like Northern California now. I don't want to go back down south if I don't have to. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's like I say, life is just kind of out there waiting, and we'll see what it brings.
Thank you, Barbara. And in some way, it's a little bit paradox, You need a home, and I don't know what to do with my home because it's too big, and I cannot manage that alone anymore. So, okay, I give over or either Hannah or Marianne.
Okay, took me a second to unmute here. So I'm looking to a year with travel. That's an intention I had set, that I want to travel more, and I already have done that. And another of my intention is to create my yard in a way that I walk out and I feel joy instead of seeing projects. So that also involves of just letting go of certain ideas or projects I had in mind and just say, no, it's enough right now. I'm, going to create a different space, which is not a space of working and have to, but a space of enjoyment and, whatever. We see how that happens. And also finding time in the day of more self-care than I have been doing. So that's all my goal setting there. Let me see what happens. Okay, my mute button is not coming up. But Hannah, go.
Yeah, so I'm having just returned from Nepal. We are already planning for next year, Ralph and I. So this was the first time, a pilot, that we did a spiritual group journey, leading as leaders, group leaders, and that went very well. So we're going to offer offer maybe one or two consecutive 2-week journeys in India this time for maybe a group of 12 people. So that's one thing I'm quite excited about. It's new in our life that we are sharing this passion about India and Nepal and meditation with other people, and it seems to be quite a lot of demand. So and apart from that, it's not so much. I mean, in a way, since my mother died a year and a half ago, Ralph and I are very much feel very free to be together and to work together and to work on ourselves together, and somehow it seems to get going in a direction of more joy, less working out of obligation. We don't have children. We own a house now. We're kind of really very much free to just do what we like, you know, and really helping others is always, and helping others and also helping the world community has to be a big part of that. Yeah. So that's where I stand. Very privileged position, really, I find. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good that we can do that, isn't it? And I try to set myself straight this year somehow, to find a little bit, how can you say, more perspective than I have. And I'm not sure what exactly to do. But first of all, I have decided, when Mark was about to die, and I said afterwards, I want to go somewhere, go out of here, and I haven't done it yet. So I decided in May to go to the Integral African Tour and to the Integral African Conference. And this is a challenge for me. I've never been in Africa, and I've never been in exotic countries except California, you know.
That's an exotic.
So it took me some courage to finally book and to decide to go there, and, you know, and the traveling alone, I don't really like it too much, but okay, I have to do that. And I'm looking forward to get some new impulses by that. In the meantime, I have created other conversation groups on internet, and I'm quite busy there. And I always see, when I talk with people like with you or with other people, I'm energized. And that seems to be the thing which I really like to do. Not all the work around, you know, the technical glitches. But yeah, I like to connect with people, and I hope that would be a longer term wish, that either I can find the right people to stay here with me permanently, or I have the possibility to be free of a house like this and to have the money to go somewhere else, and where I think that's the right community. And I don't think I would go somewhere to live alone in a flat. So that's probably not. But there are so many communities growing in this time of history. So I think I would find some place. I hope so. In the meantime, girls, I unmute you all. Let's say goodbye and have a good year, and maybe we see again next year with a similar.
I hope so. Thank you.
I hope that we see again, but I don't know if on Hangouts.
Thank you so much for
bringing
us together. Thank you.
And Barbara, good luck.
Yes, from all of us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The position which really needs to be resolved very soon, you know. So I wish you good luck. Yeah. And who is watching and listening, check out the other calls we have done. And there's many beautiful conversations on the wisdomfactory.net on conscious aging, on conscious dying, but also many other things, on love relationships, on ecology, on as we said before, growing up in post-war Germany. And there are also integral chats where 7, 8, 9 people talk about integral topics like the levels of development we were talking about before, about development. And you can see different levels, and you can talk about how do people live and believe and think on these levels. And as a group, we are figuring that out, and then I'm posting it on the website. So if you are interested in these things, check out the website. It's rich. I think there are 300 videos or something to be found there, and often with timestamps where I then write down what we spoke about, and so you can first figure out if it is interesting for you or not. Okay, see you there and connect with us. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.